All right, I'm going to do it. Yes! I'm finally going to tell you what's been happening to me. But can I? Do I dare? After all, who would believe me? It's all so weird, so bizarre, so insane. If I wasn't sure that there had been no breakdown in my cognitive abilities, I might assume that I'd hallucinated the whole thing, or that I'd fallen prey to some sort of strange optical illusion. I mean, after all, who knows? I'm in a mental hospital now, of my own free will, mind you, just as a precaution. Because I'm afraid. The only soul in the whole world who knows my story is the doctor here. But I feel I must get my story out, though I can't really say why. I suppose it's the only way to exorcise this intolerable nightmare from my mind.
Time for your medicine.
Here goes nothing. I've always lived alone, not because I'm difficult to get along with, but mostly due to the unpleasant niggling dread that slowly creeps up on me when I spend too much time in the company of others. Why is this? I have no earthly idea. It's not that I'm a complete hermit or that I shun society out of hand. On the contrary, I enjoy sparkling conversation or dinner with friends as much as the next person.
Of all the restaurants in Paris, why does he always insist on dining at this one?
Yes, I thought he said he hated the Eiffel Tower. Why dine beneath it? For mercy's sake.
Isn't it obvious? It's the only place you could dine without actually having to look at it.
But I don't know. After too long a time with even my closest friends, I begin to feel intensely claustrophobic and begin praying to God that some horrific natural disaster will break out so that I'll have a good excuse to go home to bed without seeming rude. But this desire to be alone is not just a whim or passing fancy. It is a deep, compelling psychological need which, left ignored, would no doubt lead to a psychological implosion. Which is why my house has, or rather had, become a solitary world where I led a life amongst beautiful things, which gave me more pleasure than even the arms of a lover ever could. That is until a terrible night. I saw a production of Sigurd in the city. It was my first time hearing this magnificent opera, and I enjoyed myself immensely. My head was so full with the opera's enchanting score that I decided to walk home in order to savor it. But the melodies soon succumbed to the restless rustling of the countryside at night. Suddenly, the sky became clear, and there before me was the last forlorn slash of the waning moon. The true moon of the witches' Sabbath. When at last I reached my house, I was overwhelmed by an extraordinary noise, as if all of my furniture were being rearranged by a dyspeptic ogre. I did not touch my revolver, knowing somehow it would be useless against whatever was inside. Ashamed of my cowardice, I grabbed my keys and I thrust open the door. The bang echoed like a gunshot through the house, and the noise was immediately met with an incredible roar. Suddenly, on the threshold, I saw my chair. My reading chair. More furniture followed, and all my chairs, which leapt like goats. My little stools, chopped like bunnies. I dove into the shrubbery and hid there, watching this unbelievable parade. More furniture followed, my sofas, crawling on their short legs like crocodiles. The gorgeous grand piano galloped like a runaway horse, its wires jangling out dissonant music from within. Brushes and crystal-cut goblets crawled over the gravel and shone like glowworms in the moonlight. The carpet scuttled away like octopi across the sea floor. And I saw my writing desk, a rare antique which contained all of the letters I'd ever written, not to mention some fairly excellent writing of my own and photos. somewhat personal nature. Suddenly, I was no longer afraid, and I hurled myself at the desk! But it was no use. Even in my desperation, I was no match for its terrible strength, and the bastard desk bucked me off! I dragged myself off the main drive, just in time to watch as every last stick of my furniture vanished into the distance. With that, I hightailed it back to the city.
Oh, welcome back, monsieur, to Hotel Hola.
I must have a room for tonight. Well, you see, I've lost my mind. One of my keys. I've lost my keys.
Say not another word, monsieur. You must stay here for the night. We will send for your servants in the morning.
Thank you.
Bonne nuit.
The next morning, when my servants arrived, I could tell by their expressions how distressed they were.
Sir, terribly sorry to interrupt, sir.
Yes? What is it?
Go on, tell him.
I daren't say. Don't make Christian sense, sir.
Oh, you shell of a man! Sir, something horrible's happened. Lord love us.
Well, what is it?
I'm afraid all of your furniture has been stolen, sir.
It's impossible. To be honest, this news really did cheer me up quite a bit. Why? Who knows? They must be the same thieves who stole my keys.
To think we might have all been murdered in our beds.
We must notify the police right away.
Right away, sir.
The investigation lasted for 5 months, and we didn't find so much as a toothpick, never mind a trace of the thieves. And you better believe I never bothered refurnishing the house. What would have been the point when I knew the same thing would just happen again? Instead, I moved into the hotel while I consulted with several specialists about the chronic anxiety attacks I'd been suffering.
You seem to be suffering from what we call acute melancholia.
I'm afraid this could be the early stages of dementia precox.
This is a textbook case of retroactive anxiety effect, or RA. RA! Maybe take a vacation.
I began my trip through Italy, snaking through the labyrinthine canals of Venice, which then led me to Africa. I crossed the glorious yellow desert at my own pace, where camels, gazelles, and nomads wander, and where in the bright crystalline air, no nightmare can take hold, by night or day. But back in Europe, I felt like a patient who thought he'd been cured, only to feel the old pain return just beneath the skin. So rather than returning to Paris, I traveled to Rouen. One afternoon, around 4 o'clock, I found myself wandering down the most incredible street. It was made up of row after row of antiques dealers, cavernous shops with mountains of carved chests, painted statues of saints, you name it. When suddenly, dear God in heaven, my blood froze stiff in my veins. For standing there amongst the clutter of one of these catacombs was one of my most exquisite cabinets, just standing there like a sentinel at the cemetery gates for dead furniture. I entered the establishment shaking from every limb. I didn't dare touch it lest it vanish in a puff of smoke. But it was my cabinet, all right. I would have recognized it anywhere. As I ventured deeper into the house, I recognized 2 of my petit point embroidered chairs, and then 2 of my Henry II tables. It was like running into long-lost relatives you'd given up for dead. With every step, I found another piece that belonged to me. Lamps, books, pictures, everything but my old writing desk with my letters. That was nowhere to be found. All the while, I never came across another living soul. Soon night fell, and I sat down in one of my own chairs. Hello? Is anybody there? Hello?
Who's there?
I'm a customer.
You better go now.
No, I won't. I've been waiting over an hour.
It's getting late. You really ought to be at home in bed.
I'm sorry, but I must insist.
We're closed now. You could come back tomorrow.
But I leave when tomorrow?
It's mine too.
I'm waiting for you.
Very well. I would very much like to purchase those 2 petit point chairs just as you enter.
What excellent taste you have. A charming addition to any home. Those are 50,000 francs.
For the lot?
Each.
Oh, yeah, that's...
You're right. I meant 60,000 each.
That did seem a bit steep, considering I technically owned them already, but needs must.
80, 100, 120. Very good. May I congratulate you on a most enviable acquisition. To part with one's possessions is like losing a loved one. Wouldn't you agree? Yes, I can tell you appreciate this.
Please have them sent to my attention at the Hotel de Berthold.
I will indeed. And do be careful on your way back, my charming sir. These dark streets have a way of insinuating themselves upon the unsuspecting.
I headed straight for police headquarters and told them my story.
We'll have this man taken in for questioning. Direct mode. Why don't you go and get yourself a nice dinner at the hotel and come back here in...
I was thrilled. By now, they would have nabbed their crook. 2 hours later, I went over to police headquarters.
Well, sir, I'm afraid your man has disappeared. Damn.
Disappeared?
Not to worry. We'll keep the house under surveillance round the clock until he returns.
But how is that possible? Are you sure you have the right house?
Quite sure. He normally spends his evening with this funny old witch, a neighbor by the name of Widow Bedouin. And she ain't seen him tonight.
I ain't seen him tonight. And I can't give you any more information.
And she can't give us any more information.
The next morning, we drove to the antique shop.
Oh, I've gotten word that your merchant has not reappeared. Damn, that don't matter. We have a warrant to open the shop, and you can show me everything that is yours.
I rushed inside and began searching for something, anything of mine, but I couldn't find so much as a gravy boat. I don't understand it. Last night, I couldn't turn around without bumping into something of mine. For the first time, the police commissioner eyed me with suspicion. You know, the disappearance of my furniture does strangely coincide with the disappearance of the merchant.
True. But I have to say, you made quite a blunder trying to buy your furniture back. That must be what gave him the tip-off. And he had all night to hide your things. And I wouldn't be surprised if these old houses weren't connected by subterranean passageways. But no matter. I will continue to oversee this investigation, personnellement.
Oh my God. My heart. Poor heart. I can't take much more of this. I stayed in Rouen for 2 weeks, but the merchant never reappeared. Not that I expected him to. You can't ambush a man like that. Then I received a strange letter from my gardener.
Dear sir, I feel it is my duty to inform you that last night something happened which neither I nor the police can explain. All of the furniture has come back. The house is exactly the same as it was the night before the break-in. It's enough to put you off your rocker. We eagerly await your return, sir. Your humble servant, Paulette Rodin.
Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 no. You're not getting me back there. No way in hell. I took the letter directly to the police commissioner.
Well, well, well. If this isn't quite the tidy little resolution. A little too tidy if you ask me. But not to worry, we'll catch him yet. We'll lie low. And when he least expects it. D'accord! We'll call the little beggar once and for all.
But you see, he hasn't been collared. Not by a long shot. They let him get away. And now I'm afraid of him. Like he's a wild animal on the loose, trailing my scent. Find him? He can't be found. This monster with a skull face like the full moon. Only I can meet him, and I don't want to. And how could I keep pretending that I hadn't seen what I had? Keeping what I'd seen a secret and pretending to live like everyone else? Now that was insane! So I consulted with this doctor who runs this really lovely mental hospital. I told her everything. And what a relief that was. And after a very thorough examination and interview, she asked me,
Don't you feel better getting it all out in the open?
Yes, doctor.
Would you like to spend some time here?
Oh, with pleasure, doctor.
You're a man of independent means, I take it?
Oh, yes, doctor.
Very good. You won't get better in no time. Now, shall I arrange for some friends to come visit you?
No, doctor, no visitors. The man from Rouen might track me here and try to exact his revenge. And...
There. How very careless of me. You'll be perfectly safe now that you are in our care. You just relax. Leave the fretting to us.
And so now, I'm alone.
I've lived here now for 3 months, blissfully alone, where nothing can disturb my tranquility. Unless, of course, the antiques merchant were to also go mad. And they brought him here, to this same hospital. In which case, there is no safety. Not even in prison.
Where does the time go? Who knows? Does it unfurl and fade like a summer rose? How does the time fly? Who knows? Like a bee, does it sting? Or does it take wing like a murder of crows?